Hi, this is Martin. I'm just picking up on the program that we didn't have time to run last weekend in Barcelona, just to give you an overview of the things I was going to talk about, and so that you can use these in your own coaching practice and also for TNM coaching as well. So I'm not a writer, and I am a writer, and I came to writing in a very roundabout sort of way. So I'd never written anything particular before. My background experience was retailing and as a pharmacist, and then in 2001 I stepped up to become a coach, and I decided that I wanted to have a website. And when we got to 2004, I created a website and an ebook, just because I thought it was something to do. My first ebook I wrote in 2004, and then forgot all about it. It sat on my hard drive until 2014, and then I resurrected it. I also started writing articles to easynightarticles.com, which is a free website where you can post articles. And in the end, I managed to put together around 400 of those, which over the years have had over 650,000 reads of those different articles. I also wrote articles for my own websites and blog posts, and also once in a while, if Doreen nags me enough, I'll write a piece for TNM coaching as well, and I enjoy that. So, what are we going to do with these articles once we've got them? Well, the first thing you use them for is on your own website to build your reputation and grow a steady stream of followers. Then you can put it on others' websites because people are always looking for content, and I would be always only too happy to do that, particularly as long as they will give me some sort of link back to my own website. You can create blog posts which are fairly short and intimate and slightly easier to do, quicker to do, and post those as well on your website if it has a blog. And then there are other places like LinkedIn, Facebook. You can combine articles to make ebooks, and of course, as I've mentioned earlier, you can give them to TNM to use to enhance their brand and make sure that you get recognized too within that. So the first challenge that you'll have is just making a start. Until you have a go at it, you'll never know how easy it is, and of course it will take a little while to get the hang of it. The second thing that you'll be challenged with is thinking about what you're going to write about, and I'm going to share some ideas with that in mind in the next slide. Following that, we're going to talk a little bit about finding time to write, and I've got some ideas that'll make it really quick for you to do this and make it easy. And then what you're going to do with it when you've got it and how you get the best of that. And I think the most overwhelming challenge that people have when they write is that it might not be right, it might not be correct, there might be something wrong with it. And so letting go of your judgment of perfect is all about saying, well, how do I know that perfect is perfect? My perfect might not be somebody else's perfect not be mine. And all we're trying to do is get people to have an opinion about what they read with your writing, and they can think about it, and it may help them process some thoughts they've already got, or it may also help them come up with some ideas of their own. But where do ideas come from then? Well, many ideas come from just our own experiences. They can be things that we've gone through in the past and that we can now extrapolate some ideas from that we want to share. It can be from a range of coaching clients that we have, participants on courses, all with the issue of confidentially closest to mind. We don't share names, of course, but we may well share experiences that we've gone through with them or that they may have had that might be of use to other people. There are stories in the news and press and social media, and we can act on those and write something about them. And we may be developing our professional skills and sharing some of the knowledge that we're gaining with other people just to help them start thinking about what they might do in the areas of their interest. And we've already heard a little bit about story, and I'd like to add anecdote, both of which are things that can help people understand things in simpler ways than perhaps the more complex opportunities we have to put to them. So we make stories up which might be interesting to them, may make them think, and they draw some relevance from. And then finally, some random ideas I have, like walking in nature where you see something. It could be graffiti on a wall, it could be an object in the room, light shades, pictures, vases, flowers, you name it. There's all sorts of ways that you can just say, well, actually, that just resonates with me. And one little exercise I like to undertake sometimes, sitting in a room like we were last weekend, is to say, well, what does that mean to me? How could I create some story, some metaphor out of that? And more often than not, you'll find that you can. And now I have an exercise for you. So, what I'd like you to do just for 30 seconds is to consider an area of your current professional interest, and then I'm going to give you that time. I shall stop the clock, stop the presentation for 30 seconds, and then once you've got that and you write it down, I'd like you to talk about it out loud for just 1 minute. That's 60 seconds, and then I'll stop you and I'll explain to you why that's important. So, first of all, have a think about something that you would like just to talk about for 1 minute, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Okay, so that's got some ideas in your mind. What I'd like you to do now is just take 1 minute to talk out loud about your subject. Just do it as naturally as you can and take the 1 minute. That's starting now. And stop. Okay, so you did your speaking for a minute, and I have to tell you that most of you will have said 100 words within that minute and said them with reasonable accuracy. Once you've spoken those words, you can edit them fairly easily, and we tend to do that slightly more slowly than speaking them in the first place. So, five lots of 100 words is a decent sized article. Blog posts normally would be a bit shorter and less formal and maybe a bit more personalised. And usually 2 to 300 words can work perfectly well for a blog post. And if you want to tweet anything, then those are obviously even quicker with just 140 characters. But you will find you need to work quite hard to get what you want to say in such a short amount of space. And this is an example of a piece that I did fairly quickly. I wouldn't get too involved with the content because I wasn't aiming for a particular topic, but you can see my dictation in a minute was 102 words. There were some things that needed to be edited from that because it was a little bit scruffy and a little bit inaccurate. Um, and it took me about 1 minute 20 seconds to edit that, and I ended up with 104 words because it sounded slightly better when I added a couple of words in. So the total time taken for the dictation and the editing was 2 minutes 20 seconds. So to get your 300 word blog post It might take you 10 minutes or so once you get into this, and that's a very quick way to get something that you can put on your on your blog, and will start to build the volume of information you've got up on your website, so that people come back more and more. And the important thing then is to see how we make this easy. So here are some practical applications for you. I personally like to use my phone rather than speaking to my laptop or desktop, just because it's convenient. And if you do it with cloud products such as Evernote, Notes, or in some cases Word, if it's integrated with your other equipment, then you can do it quickly and easily, and the information is consistent throughout. To do this, you use the little microphone button that appears like the one on the left, which is the iPhone button and comes up on all the keyboards, and the one on the right is usually seen on Android equipment. If you find it useful, as I sometimes do, if I have a particular piece to write, I will create maybe 4 or 5 bullet points in my notes application on my Mac, and then that will transfer over to my phone automatically through the system. And then once in a while, as I'm out and about, I can stop to take a look at which bullet point I was on and quickly say a piece into it. What you will find, and certainly this is the case with the iPhone, is that Siri, that is the app that drives the dictation conversion into words on a document, only lasts for about 50 words at a time, and that's because it seeks the cloud information to understand better what you're saying. And then it will switch off, and you need to switch it back on. So it kind of ping at the end of that time, and you'll need to switch it back on. So it's a couple of sessions probably you'll need to get 100 words done. I guess I don't know the Android products, but I suspect that they were similar. If you want to speak for longer on an iPhone, then Drag and Do a product which you can subscribe to, which I think is about £8 a month, and you can just continuously talk into that. But I've never used it, and I'm not sure of the accuracy of it. Although I have used Dragon products on my Mac and find them pretty effective, and you can just keep talking into them then because it's processing as it goes. Once you've done the talking and you've got your document complete, you need to edit it, and I would just ensure that you don't over edit. Just make sure it makes sense reasonably, that there are no clearly obvious mistakes which the dictation has picked up, and your punctuation is correct, and then you're good to go. Don't try and make it perfect, because your perfect is not someone else's perfect. It's how they read what you've written and take something from it. So post it somewhere and embrace the comments you get and learn from them as you go. Here are some key tips. You may need to switch the microphone on your iPhone, and if you find that the little microphone symbol is grayed out, then you haven't got it switched on. So you need to go to into your settings, go to General, Keyboard, and Enable Dictation, and then it will appear as a functional button. You may need to watch your data, because sometimes this eats data as it goes backwards and forwards to the cloud to be analysed by Siri to make sense of what you're saying. I've never found this a problem ever, so I just mention it in some cases if you've got a fairly low data that you buy each month. I would make sure that you speak slowly, speak as clearly as you can, but be natural, because we want to hear your voice in the writing that you're doing. Generally, if you do that, I personally find that using my iPhone and Siri, I can get reasonable, almost 90% 95% accuracy with just small amounts being tweaked, as you'll have seen from the example that I used earlier. Don't worry about being perfect as you speak. You can edit out the mistakes that you make, if they really are mistakes, and you will certainly get better as you play with this, practice it, and have a bit of fun. It can be frustrating. All I can say is that I use it for a lot of things now. One thing I would just mention, which I perhaps could have done earlier, was that just be careful when you're using WhatsApp, because you see another microphone before you get to the keyboard, and that creates a sound bite for you, as you may have noticed on the TNM conference thread. I started talking into mine, not realising it wasn't the right microphone. And I talked a little bit about where to put it. You may or may not have a blog. If you do, and I would encourage everyone to have a blog, just to share your thoughts to the bigger world. But it's not the end of the world if you haven't. You can ask other people who will put it on their blog, and I'd always ask them for a little bit about you, to put a little bit about you and a link to your own website at the end of the post. You can share it with TNM, and you can certainly share it with me, and I'll be happy to post it. You can post to LinkedIn, you can post to Facebook, you can post links to Twitter, and I would say the wider you share your wisdom, the more interaction you'll get with people, and the more value that you'll create, not only for them but for yourself as well. Finally, then, just to wrap up this piece, remember you do not need to be perfect. Whatever you write is your interpretation, and it will resonate with some people and it won't resonate with others. Your words that you put out there will make a lot more of a difference than not putting anything out at all. And even if you just irritate and annoy and create some response to what you say, then it's adding value to everybody that reads it. It is your opinion after all. And overall, it will create a reputation for you as someone who's worth being involved with, listening to, what reading online, and your personal reputation will grow. It builds your brand as an individual, and we're using technology to help you do that more quickly, so it's not off-putting. You don't have to sit down and waste a lot of time over it. And ultimately, I just recommend you to just do it, to give it a go, have some fun, and see what comes out of it. And finally, then, a plea from me: write something this month, write something in November, write something in December, one thing at least every month, however short it is. Watch out for Chris and Rebecca's stuff on a topic calendar the next year that we may be using for TNM, and just set yourself a goal to contribute to that and post it on the TNM blog and post it on your own blog. Two little things you can do to build your reputation and help out TNM as well. Send your articles and blogs to Doreen to post on the TNM site, and she'll be very welcoming for them. The more the merrier. Um, if you send them to me, I will always post them on my own website for free with a link back to you if you send me a short bio and the website address. And that's my offer to you going forward. And just as a bonus, I'll probably tweet it as well. So let's give it a go. Thanks a lot. If you need to contact me at all for any questions, anything that I can help you with, you know where I am, Martin at tnmcoaching.com, and I'll be only too delighted to hear from you. Thanks for listening and reading this, and I wish you well with your writing.